wait for him.
Yeah. I'm Ryan Gumpel,
I'm Robert Danker.
And I'm Ryan Whitman.
and this is the Week 1 football recap.
Alright, so we could start off with some big news. Headlines, Antonio Brown signing with the Patriots. They're being with the Raiders. What do you guys have to say about that?
That's a huge addition for the Patriots and to a wide receiver core that's already really, really stellar. I mean, they traded Demaryius Thomas to the Jets, but I mean, Antonio Brown, Edelman, and Josh Gordon is going to be unstoppable. I don't think Brady's ever had a wide receiving core like that. But, he's got some scandals following him. We'll see what happens. The Patriots are going to do their due diligence, investigate that, and if there's anything wrong, he'll be gone within a week. So
The Patriots. I feel like the Patriots are the one team where the player can't be bigger than the team. They have such a strong organization that I think he's not going to be as big as a head case in New England.
And if he starts acting up, that Belichick's having none of it, and he's going to be gone quicker than he could have played a game. So, other news: hyped up Browns, potential AFC champions, got off to a rocky start in Week 1. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Josh, but oh my God, that was a terrible performance from the Browns.
Really bad against the Titans, who I didn't think were gonna really contest as much as they did.
Yeah.
And they wiped them out.
One of the big things for the Browns, their problem was the offensive line. They couldn't get Baker any time. And trading guard Kevin Zeitler to the Giants in that Odell trade, clearly a big loss for the Browns, and I think they're gonna bounce back.
I'm not worried. They're playing Jets Monday Night Football, and now the Jets. News just broke that Sam Darnold actually has mono, so he's out Week 2 against the Browns, which, of course, as a Jets fan, I mean, that's just classic. I expect nothing less than for Sam Darnold to get mono and C.J. Mosley to do something to his groin.
And Le'Veon's out too, or Le'Veon's hurt. He didn't participate in practice yesterday or today.
Sore shoulder, he's getting an MRI.
It's already going downhill for the Jets.
It's classic. I mean, what do you expect as a Jets fan?
Quentin Williams.
Quentin Williams with his sprained ankle.
It's going to be a long season for New York fans.
I got to find a new team.
I guess Buffalo's New York's team now. It's been a while.
Josh Allen with a decent comeback. First half was very shaky. Shaky. With all the turnovers. The interceptions were a little unlucky. One went through his wide receiver's hands, bounced up. C.J. Mosley returned it for the touchdown. But other than that, second half was really good for him.
Now, for all you fantasy owners, fantasy fans, we're going to talk about some Week 1 busts who might have lost you a game or made you super infuriated. Gumpel, what do you got?
So for my first bust, I got Davante Adams. I get it. Bears defense is very good. It looked better than it did last year, which is very impressive. But it's Davante Adams. He's supposed to be considered a top 3, top 5 wide receiver in the league, and he's putting up how many receptions?
Like 7 points in PPR.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even. I'm in PPR. He got me 5 points.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think it was 3 receptions for 50 yards.
Yeah.
Which.
That can't happen from possibly some people's first round pick, maybe an early second round pick.
It was my first round pick. I am not happy with it. My next bust, I got Corey Davis. I was expecting him to put up big numbers during the blowout. He ended up getting 0 receptions off of 3 targets. Which
I feel that Corey Davis. I've had him the past 2 years, his rookie year and last year, and it's been kind of Mariota's fault. Hasn't been really getting him the ball, but I mean, we saw how explosive the Titans' offense was last week and what they can do. But I mean, I'm surprised Corey Davis didn't have a better week.
My last bust, I got Devontae Freeman. He was supposed to be like the Falcons guy, running back 1. He was supposed to be fringe running back 2 territory for fantasy. He ended up not doing much. He had how many carries? I think it was 15.
Not a lot.
I think
a decent amount.
He had a decent amount, just didn't do anything with it.
And what's weird is they got rid of Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman's been taking his touches the past few years, and maybe that has resulted in some of his disappointing weeks and also a lot of injuries. not a good start for Devontae Freeman at all.
One of my busts for week 1, it was more of a disappointment than a bust, was Tyreek Hill, who's now out 4 to 6 weeks. I traded a decent amount for him, and of course, the first week he gets hurt and he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So he also didn't really contribute much in the first game given his injury, but I think that was a big letdown. Do you want to do one?
For me, I carry Allen Johnson on my team, and I was expecting him from the end of the year he had last year. I think the week 13 to week 17, he was the 4th ranked scoring running back. So I was expecting him to come out big, but C.J. Anderson took a lot of his touches. He only had 16 carries at 8.4 fantasy points for my PPR team, and I mean, they were in kind of a shootout with the Cardinals. I mean, they were up 24-0, but the offense just went stagnant after that. So I expected a lot more from him. Hopefully he can bounce back this week.
Another one was Jared Cooks on the Saints, tight end. I expected him to do a little bit more than what he did. He had, I think, about 6 points. I'm not sure how many targets, but I was hoping he would get in the maybe like 12 to 15 point range. But as a tight end, you never really know what to expect out of them. So I was a little disappointed with that.
Especially how well the Saints offense played.
Yeah, exactly.
That was also a shootout.
Mhm.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Ted Ginn went off though for the
Yeah,
Saints.
no,
That
he
was
did.
surprising.
He did. Yeah.
6 receptions, 100
Yeah,
yards.
He had a big catch.
Ted Ginn has like 3 games a year when he just like goes off.
Mhm.
And of course I had him last year and never played him. Wasted space on my bench.
Another very hyped up fantasy prospect. Some people were taking him as a top 4, even top 3 quarterback. Baker Mayfield had a stellar game until he threw 3 interceptions on 4 possessions in the 4th quarter. But for him, I'm not really worried. I think that offense will adjust. They see what went wrong. They got to get him more time. And some of those interceptions, give or take, some are not caught. It's a loss of 2 points that maybe shouldn't happen. But he had 9.4 points. It could have been 15.4 without the interceptions. And if their offense was not as stagnant as it was, that could go up to the 20-25 range per game, I think, for Baker.
Todd Gurley was also a big letdown. He had about, 9 points?
Yeah.
Definitely could have been better. I think a lot of people were expecting more out of him for the first week, but what do you guys think about that?
I mean, with his knee, I was weary of drafting him. I didn't really think it was...
Yeah.
I didn't want to waste a 1st or 2nd round pick on him, just because we know of the knee issues, and everyone in the Rams organization was saying he was fine going into the game, and he got 10 touches, I think. I mean, he did well on those 10 touches. He did pretty well for only getting 10 touches, but it's disappointing, and I can't really see that changing throughout the season. I don't think they're going to give him more as the season goes on, because he's just going to get more sore and more sore over the weeks. So
I think everyone knew that they were going to limit his touches more, but I didn't think they knew it would be sub 10.
Yeah. That was a guy who was getting 30 touches a year last year.
Yeah.
So,
Disappointing.
Disappointing.
We could talk about who went well last week, like the sleeper picks, who had a great week.
Well, Sammy Watkins was stewing on my bench.
Round of applause for Sammy Watkins.
47 points in PPR league, and now that Tyreek Hill is out, Sammy Watkins is the #1 receiver. You can say Travis Kelce might be Mahomes' #1 target, but I mean the way Watkins played last week, he might be the #1. But his numbers are going to skyrocket, I think, especially with how explosive that offense is.
It's a good time to have Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, it's a very good time to have Sammy Watkins.
I had Lamar Jackson on my bench as well. I made the mistake of forgetting how bad the Dolphins were. So from now on, I have a new fantasy strategy and just pick up whoever plays the Dolphins and start them all.
That's not a bad idea at all.
It works.
Because if Lamar Jackson can throw 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins, I feel like almost any QB besides like Eli Manning could. So.
What about Daniel Jones?
Not even him. And he's the prophet.
Who else? Deshaun Jackson went off, surprisingly. 2 50-plus yard touchdowns. That was an interesting game when Redskins were up 17-0 to start the game. The Eagles think easily going to come out of the NFC East. Maybe some competition from the Cowboys, but people are projecting them to be Super Bowl contenders, NFC
Yeah.
East winners. That was just surprising to see him go off that it wasn't Alshon Jeffrey or even Zach Ertz that put up those kind of points. I don't expect it again from him though.
No.
Not at least at that rate, but I think he'll definitely make an impact for the Eagles.
He'll have his weeks for sure.
But, yeah.
For sure. The Jets had a big blow in week 1 as well against the Bills, 16-0 at half or after half, and then the Bills came back. That one hurt. Who else out there? Patriots, a big win against the Steelers.
Patriots, a big win against the Steelers.
Really big win.
People were criticizing the Patriots that they can be as good as last year. Clearly, they look like they're going to be better.
Yeah.
Questions about the offensive line. They played a great game against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Back to fantasy, we're going to talk about some people we think a little underrated for this week that might have a big week. Gumpel, give me one.
I'm thinking McCole Hardman. He's a wide receiver for the Chiefs. The Chiefs need a new deep flyer now that Tyreek Hill is out, and McCole Hardman recorded a 4.33, the 40-yard dash this last combine, I believe, and I think he's now starting out left now that Tyreek Hill's gone, so I think that he's a good pickup for this week.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping Kerryon Johnson has a better week against the Chargers, so hopefully I think he'll finally step his game up and put up some good points.
I got Malcolm Brown from the Rams. He's the backup running back. He vultured 2 of Todd Gurley's touchdowns last week, put up 17 points. I think if he shows that he can play well enough that they'll have the confidence in him and to give Gurley less touches and keep him off the field, keep him healthy for the end of the season and the playoffs. So I think he'll start to emerge as maybe a flex, maybe a running back too. I don't know, but he definitely can add value to your team.
Yeah. Hopefully Mike Evans steps up to the plate.
Oh yeah.
He had a rough first week, single digits for points, but he could do better. Do you guys know who the Bucs are playing this week?
No, I do
I'm
not.
not sure.
But James Winston's always either on or
Yeah,
going
he's
to throw
iffy,
4
he's iffy.
interceptions, so it's a toss up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another breakout I have is Giovanni Bernard. Joe Mixon is back, but we don't know how limited he is yet, so I would just pick him up if you need someone to throw away on your bench and just keep yourself updated.
Yeah.
He's had a nagging ankle injury. I had problems with the last year. I had him on my team, so I want to see how he feels, see if he can get through a whole game with I wouldn't say a full workload, but like a
Yeah.
good enough workload that you'd want to put him in your lineup.
Yeah.
But having Gio is probably a very good second option.
Yeah.
And one more that I have is Rashard Higgins, he's a wide receiver for the Browns. On the first possession, they threw him 2 balls, 40 yards, and they didn't really target him again. I know they got to get Jarvis and Odell, even David Njoku, like their touches, but the Browns' offense is going to be best when they're spreading the ball around, getting Nick Chubb involved. And I think that Rashard Higgins, him and Baker have built a chemistry together. They were both rookies together.
Yeah.
I think that he can have a big week. And if he's not going to be a big week, I still think he's going to get a solid amount of targets and make an impact for the offense.
Yeah, definitely. The Browns just have so many options on offense.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
fair.
Once they figure out, once they like put it together, realize what went wrong last week, maybe give Baker some protection, we're going to be one of the top offenses in the
Yeah.
league, competing with the Chiefs and the Patriots. So now we're going to do some game picks. We will be picking against the spread, and the first game we have is Titans are favorites against the Colts. They're 3.5 point favorites.
Yeah. So I mean, I have the Colts here. I think the Titans, after a huge win in Week 1, I've seen it before with the Jets last year, big Week 1 win against the Lions, and they came home and it looked like they never played football before. I think the Titans are going to be a little overconfident, and the Colts are not going to be a team to sleep on. I think Brissett will step up to the plate.
I also have the Colts. I think why the Titans won last week, like Ryan said, was because of the Browns' O-line, and the Colts probably have a top 7 O-line, I would say, in the league, so I think they're going to have trouble getting to Jacoby Brissett, and I think he's going to bounce back after that shaky Week 1 start from him.
I'm going to have to disagree with both of you. I was really impressed by the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
The way they brought the pressure against Baker Mayfield. I feel like if they can get even half as much pressure as they did on him, that Brissett might not be ready for that.
Yeah.
And I think the Titans will get a win. Next game, Packers favored by 3.5 against their rivals, the Vikings.
I'm taking the Packers in this game. I think they had a really good showing against the Bears week 1, and I think Rodgers looked pretty good. I think they're a team to be reckoned with. So I think the Vikings are going to struggle a little bit.
I have the Vikings here. I think after a pretty stagnant start from Stephon Diggs in week 1, I think he's going to bounce back. Probably 10 receptions. I'm being a little cocky here, but 120 yards. I also have in fantasy, so I have to be hopeful.
Optimistic.
I also have the Vikings. I mean, the Packers defense played a great game against Bears, but Trubisky also. There's one picture of him where he had probably 15 yards to throw to someone in the end zone and did not throw it to him. So I think with a little bit of offense, you saw how good the Vikings offense was last week.
Yeah.
So I think the Vikings will beat the Packers, not just cover the spread, but beat the Packers.
The next game is Raiders versus Chiefs. The Chiefs are
8.5.
8.5 favorites.
The Raiders surprised me on Monday night. I picked up the Broncos defense thinking that the Raiders would have nothing. They'd be kind of shocked by everything that's happened with AB over the past week. But they came out and played really well, but I think the Chiefs are just too high-powered for them. I'm expecting a blowout.
Yeah.
I also have the Chiefs. I'm gonna say they're scoring at least 40 on them within the first half.
I'm a little different. I'm going with the Raiders in this game. I think they had a decent first game against a good Broncos defense, and Tyreek Hill is out. Obviously, that's a big deal for the Chiefs. While they do have Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce, I think they may struggle a little bit on offense, not too much, but it's my prediction.
Great. And I think the next game we have is the Rams versus the Saints.
NFC championship rematch.
Yeah.
You know, the whole pass interference debacle. It was definitely pass interference. Saints are underdogs because it's in LA by 3.5 points, but I can't see the Saints coming out and losing this game. They got something to prove. They're gonna play with a swagger. I mean, their defense has to be a little better than last week, otherwise it might not end so well for them. But I have the Saints.
I think it's dangerous giving the Saints I think it's dangerous to sleep on them. The Rams are 5-0 against the Saints at home with the spread, though. That's something to keep in mind, but I still think the Saints are going to win it.
Yeah, I think the Saints are going to give 110% after being robbed last year. So, in what I think will be the game of the year this season, I think I have the Saints.
And last one, Eagles favored over the Falcons by 1.5 points. It's kind of surprising, the spread, because how bad the Falcons played last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Eagles didn't play well in the first half either, but who do you got?
I have the Falcons. They're home, and I think as long as Devontae Freeman plays better and gets more touches and is more productive, I think the Falcons will go away with it.
I also have the Falcons, and I agree with Rob. You know, I think Devontae Freeman is going to have a bounce back week, and I think he has more to play for. Prove the haters wrong. So
That makes all three of us picking the Falcons, but I mean, the Eagles looked vulnerable in the first half last week, and I think a better team would have continued to play at that level through the rest of the game. You know, Doug Peterson's one of the best coaches in the league and made some really good adjustments in the second half, but still, I think the Falcons, with their offense, you got Calvin Ridley, Devontae Freeman, hopefully he plays a little bit better, and Julio Jones, who I think is the best receiver in the league. I feel like they can take advantage of how weak the Eagles' defense looked in the first half, and they can go out and beat them.
Yeah.
All right, that's all for this week. Be back next week. See ya.